Looking for good information about health, but couldn't find any on internet? Then this channel is a goldmine for you. We provide expert insights, practical tips for staying healthy and fit. So just sit back and learn from our experts, and don't forget to subscribe to stay updated on all our content. Please note, this is an AI-generated podcast designed to provide you with valuable health information.
Welcome back, everybody. Ready to dive into something a little different today?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I think this one hits home for pretty much all of us. Healthy eating.
For sure.
Specifically, we're talking about this idea of a balanced diet.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what does it actually mean?
Right.
What does it actually do for us?
Yeah, and how do we actually make it happen?
Exactly.
It's one thing to know what you're supposed to do, but then there's actually doing it.
Totally. And we've got a great mix of sources for this deep dive.
Oh, yeah.
We've got some official health guidelines.
Yeah.
We've got articles from some pretty well-known healthcare institutions.
Okay.
And even a website dedicated to all things wellness.
Awesome.
So we're going to cover a lot of ground.
Sounds good.
But the main goal here is to help you guys really grasp those key takeaways about what a balanced diet can actually do for you and give you some tips on how to actually put it into practice.
You know what really struck me going through all these sources is how much they all emphasize the long-term impact of our food choices. Oh, that's interesting.
Like, it's not just about fitting into a certain size or, looking good.
Right.
It's about giving your body the right tools to really function at its best for years to come.
That's a really good point.
It's like an investment in your future health.
Exactly. So let's start with the basics then.
Right.
I noticed most of the sources define a balanced diet in a pretty similar way.
How so?
It's all about making sure your body's getting the right nutrients.
Right, the building blocks.
Yeah, but then they all go on to list all these categories of nutrients. Vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, carbs, protein, fats.
Yeah.
It can be kind of overwhelming.
It's true, there are a lot of moving parts.
Right.
But what I found helpful is they all kind of connect those nutrients back to specific functions in the body.
Oh, okay.
Like, for example, you mentioned antioxidants.
Yeah.
These little guys are like the body's defense squad.
Okay.
They're constantly fighting off damage from things like pollution and stress.
Got it. And you get them from all those brightly colored fruits and veggies.
So eating the rainbow isn't just a cute saying.
Right.
It's actually good advice.
Exactly.
Now, what about these empty calories I keep seeing mentioned?
Oh, yeah.
That sounds kind of ominous.
Right. It's like the opposite of nutrient-dense foods.
Okay.
So think about things like sugary drinks, processed snacks.
Okay.
Even some seemingly harmless white bread.
Really?
Yeah. They might give you a quick burst of energy, but they lack the vitamins and the minerals and the fiber that your body actually needs to thrive.
So it's not just about the calories themselves.
Right.
But the quality of those.
Exactly.
Okay, so this is where things get interesting.
Yeah.
When you start focusing on those nutrient-rich foods, you automatically start crowding out those empty calories.
Right.
And that shift alone can have some pretty incredible effects.
It can.
Okay, spill the tea. What kind of benefits are we talking about here?
Well, almost every source mentions longer lifespan. Now, I know we can't eat our way to immortality.
Right.
But studies show that a balanced diet can significantly reduce the risk of chronic diseases.
So it's like an investment in your future health.
Absolutely. And it's not just about preventing disease either.
Okay.
There's a ton of research on how a balanced diet supports healthy bones, boosts your immune system,
Oh, wow.
improves your skin health, even strengthens your teeth and eyes.
So we're talking beauty from the inside out.
Exactly.
I also noticed that a lot of the sources mention a balanced diet as essential for pregnant women.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah.
Providing the right nutrients during pregnancy is absolutely crucial for the baby's development.
I can imagine.
And it's not just during those 9 months. A balanced diet can positively impact a child's growth and brain development all the way through childhood.
So this is really setting them up for success.
For sure.
I'm starting to see how this goes way beyond just what we see in the mirror.
It really does.
So we're all on board with the why now. But what everyone really wants to know is, what exactly should we be eating more of?
I think that's the million-dollar question.
Yeah.
Let's dive into those food groups because there's definitely a common thread across all of our sources here.
Okay.
The USDA's Choose My Plate method is a great visual.
Okay.
And a lot of the sources reference it.
Okay.
Basically, think of your plate like a pie chart.
Okay. I'm picturing it.
All right, so fruits and vegetables should take up half of your plate.
Half. Okay.
And we're not just talking about like a sad side salad here.
Right.
Think vibrant berries, crunchy bell peppers, leafy greens, sweet potatoes.
Yeah.
Variety is key, not just for nutrients, but for keeping things interesting.
Yeah, you got to keep it exciting.
Exactly.
This is making me hungry already.
Me too.
What about the other half of the plate then?
So the remaining half is split between lean protein and whole grains.
Okay.
For protein, we're looking at things like fish, chicken beans, lentils, nuts, even tofu.
Lots of options.
Lots of good options.
And for whole grains?
Think brown rice quinoa oats.
Got it.
These foods provide sustained energy and that important fiber.
Yeah, fiber's key.
It helps with digestion and keeps you feeling full.
And don't forget healthy fats.
Oh, right.
I know people used to be scared of fats.
Yeah.
But our sources make it pretty clear they're essential for things like brain function and hormone production.
Absolutely. Things like avocado, olive oil, nuts, and seeds.
Okay.
But it's important to note that not all fats are created equal.
Right.
We'll get to that later when we talk about foods to avoid.
Oh, yeah. I'm curious about that naughty list.
Oh, yeah.
What did our sources flag as the things we should be limiting?
Well, the usual suspects are all there.
Okay.
Processed foods,
Uh-huh.
sugary drinks,
Mm-hmm.
and those sneaky trans fats lurking in some packaged baked goods and fried foods.
Oh, yeah. Those are the worst.
Those are the ones that really contribute to those empty calories we talked about.
Yeah, it's interesting how many sources point out the connection between these types of foods and inflammation in the body.
Yeah, that's a key point.
It seems like inflammation is linked to so many health problems.
It is. Chronic inflammation is linked to so many health problems,
Yeah.
and our diet plays a huge role.
So cutting back on those processed foods and sugary drinks
Yeah,
can be a powerful way to combat that.
for sure.
Okay, so those are definitely on my limit list now.
Good.
What about things like salt, alcohol, and red meat?
Good question.
Are those off limits completely, or?
It's not necessarily about completely avoiding them.
Okay.
It's more about moderation.
Gotcha.
Most of the sources emphasize limiting processed meats like bacon and sausage,
Okay,
which are high in saturated fat and sodium.
right.
And when it comes to salt in general, it's important to be mindful of how much we're adding to our food.
And alcohol.
Yeah.
I know a glass of red wine is sometimes touted as having health benefits.
There's some debate about that.
Yeah.
But most sources agree that moderation is key.
Okay,
If you do choose to drink, sticking to the recommended guidelines is important.
that makes sense. So now that we've got a good grasp of the foods to embrace and the ones to limit, I'm wondering about the practical side of things.
Yeah.
Like, how do we actually put this into action?
Right, because knowledge without action doesn't get us very far.
Exactly.
One of the sources, the Max Healthcare article,
Okay.
actually includes a sample 7-day meal plan.
Oh, a meal plan. That's
Yeah.
super helpful.
It's pretty detailed,
Okay.
and it gives you a good visual of how to incorporate all these food groups into your day.
You know, I know I get stuck in a rut sometimes eating the same things over and over.
Yeah,
So this could be a good way to shake things up.
absolutely. And remember, it's just the starting point.
Okay.
You can adapt it to your own preferences and dietary needs.
Right.
In fact, consulting with a registered dietitian or a nutritionist is always a good idea, especially if you have any specific health concerns or goals.
Yeah, that makes sense. And it's like having a personal nutrition coach in your corner.
Exactly.
But even before you see a professional, there are some simple strategies we can all start implementing today.
Right, absolutely. One tip that came up in a couple of sources is to focus on hydration.
Oh, yeah, water.
We often underestimate the power of water.
Totally.
Aim for at least 8 glasses a day.
I know it sounds so simple, but I'm definitely guilty of not drinking enough water sometimes.
We've all been there.
Yeah.
Another great tip is to make fruits and vegetables the stars of your meals.
Okay.
Think of them as the main attraction, not just a side dish. Get creative with salads, roasted veggies, smoothies.
Yeah.
The possibilities are endless.
And speaking of veggies, the CDC source had a great tip about choosing locally grown seasonal produce.
Well, that's a good one.
Not only is it fresher and more flavorful,
Right.
but it's also more sustainable and often more affordable.
That's a fantastic point.
So it's kind of a win-win.
Supporting local farmers and reducing our environmental impact.
Exactly.
Plus, eating seasonally can help us reconnect with the natural rhythms of the earth
Ooh, I like that.
and appreciate the variety that each season brings.
That's beautiful.
It is.
It's like we're coming full circle, connecting our food choices to our health, our community, and even the planet.
Exactly. It's all interconnected.
And speaking of connection,
Yeah.
one thing that really stood out to me is the link between gut health and overall well-being.
Oh, yeah.
A couple of sources touched on this,
Mm-hmm.
and I think it's a fascinating area that's gaining more and more attention.
It is.
I've heard about the importance of the gut microbiome,
Yeah.
but I'd love to hear more about how that ties into a balanced diet.
Well, it turns out that the trillions of bacteria living in our gut,
Trillions.
trillions, yeah,
Wow.
play a huge role in digestion, immunity, even mood.
Really?
And what we eat directly impacts the balance of these bacteria.
So it's like we're feeding our gut bacteria as well as ourselves.
Precisely.
That's wild.
And just like we need a variety of nutrients for our bodies to function properly, our gut bacteria thrive on diversity as well.
This is making me rethink my whole approach to food.
It's a whole new world.
It's not just about calories and macros.
Right.
It's about creating a healthy ecosystem in our gut.
Exactly.
So what kind of foods are good for our gut microbiome?
Fiber is key.
Okay.
It acts like a prebiotic, feeding the good bacteria in our gut.
Gotcha.
So those whole grains, fruits, and vegetables we talked about are essential.
Okay.
And fermented foods like yogurt, kefir, sauerkraut, and kimchi
Oh, yeah.
are also great sources of probiotics, which are live bacteria that can help replenish our gut flora.
So we're actually adding good bacteria.
We are?
Wow. So much to think about.
It is.
I'm feeling inspired to experiment with new recipes.
Yeah.
And really pay attention to how different foods make me feel.
Yeah, it really is a journey of discovery.
I love that.
And it's not about being perfect. You know, it's
Mhm.
about making gradual, sustainable changes that really support your overall well-being.
Absolutely. And one thing that might surprise you is that a couple of our sources actually touched on the concept of intermittent fasting.
Oh, yeah, that's interesting.
It's not about restricting what you eat,
Right.
but rather when you eat.
Exactly.
I've heard about that.
Yeah,
There seems like there's a lot of different approaches to intermittent fasting, though.
there are.
Did the sources mention any specifics?
They did. One popular method is the 168 approach,
Okay.
where you fast for 16 hours
Okay.
and have an 8-hour eating window.
Gotcha.
There's also the 5.2 method,
Mm-hmm.
where you eat normally for 5 days and then restrict calories for 2 non-consecutive days.
It sounds a bit intense, but I've heard it can have some real benefits for weight management and even cellular repair.
Right, but it's important to note that it's not for everyone.
Right, of course.
Anyone considering intermittent fasting should definitely consult with their doctor first,
Yeah, good point.
especially if they have any underlying health conditions.
It's always best to get personalized advice from a healthcare professional. Speaking of personalized approaches,
Yeah.
what about those who choose to follow a plant-based diet?
Right.
Did our sources have any insights for them?
They did. Plant-based diets are becoming increasingly popular.
They are.
And for good reason.
Mhm.
They're packed with nutrients and can be incredibly beneficial for both our health and the environment.
Yeah.
However, it's important for those following a vegan or vegetarian diet
That was
to
good.
pay close attention to certain nutrients that might be harder to get from plant sources alone.
Like what?
Well, vitamin B12 is a big one.
Okay.
It's primarily found in animal products, so vegans and vegetarians often need to supplement to make sure they're getting enough.
Makes sense.
Iron is another nutrient to be mindful of.
Okay.
Although it's present in plant foods, it's not as easily absorbed as iron from animal sources.
So a little planning and awareness can go a long way.
Absolutely, and that's a great takeaway from this whole deep dive.
Yeah.
Whether you're looking to overhaul your diet or just make a few tweaks, knowledge is power.
I like that.
The more you understand about how your body works and what it needs to thrive, the better equipped you are to make choices that support your long-term health and well-being.
I totally agree, and I love that our sources provided such a diverse range of perspectives, from basic nutrition principles
Right?
to more advanced concepts like gut health and intermittent fasting.
It's fascinating stuff.
It really shows that there's no one-size-fits-all approach to balanced eating.
That's so true.
The best diet is the one that works for you, your lifestyle, and your individual needs.
Exactly.
So to wrap things up,
Okay.
if you're feeling inspired to make some positive changes, I encourage you to revisit the Choose My Plate method we discussed earlier.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Think about how you can incorporate more fruits, vegetables, lean proteins, and whole grains into your meals.
Great advice.
And don't forget about the importance of staying hydrated.
Oh, yeah, water is key.
Well, that brings us to the end of our deep dive into balanced diets.
That was great.
We hope you've gained some valuable insights and feel empowered to make choices that nourish both your body and mind. Until next time, happy eating.